It's 1180 BC. It's the end of the Trojan War. Troy has lost. It's burning. The smoke is choking you because you are the last Trojan prince. You're a warrior. You've survived. And your instinct screams, draw your sword. Fight a glorious battle to the death. That's what a Greek hero would do. But you stop, put your sword back, turn away from that idea of glory. You pick up your paralyzed father Anchises, you get him on your shoulders, on your back, and you walk away. Walk out into the darkness. This is the moment that the Western world changed forever. But a major question you need to watch the whole lesson to understand, was that cowardice or the invention of the ultimate weapon? I'm Mr. Hull, and this is Ancient History. Welcome to Classical Kingdoms, where timeless stories reveal truth and wisdom for your journey. This is lesson number 43. It's the journey of Aeneas. In this ancient history course, he is the beginning of Rome, the burden of Rome. In our last lessons, we watched the Greek world dissolve into the chaos after Alexander the Great. It was a political thriller, the Hellenistic age. Everybody was fighting for themselves, for the classical kingdoms. But today, we delete all of that. We're going back in time, and let's work on a different scroll. We're moving from the Greek hero who knows what glory is to the Roman hero who whispers, "We will be the future." This matters for you because you will face moments like Aeneas in your life. Do you know how to act, what to do? Do you know the beginnings of Rome? So get your notebook ready because we will cover centuries of history, myth and legend and archaeology, the beginnings of Rome, so that by the end of this episode, you will level up as a classical scholar. You'll know the beginnings of Rome, and you'll have a geography challenge at the end to make sure that you know the Roman map, shifting from the Greek map. Now let's go back to Troy, 1180 BC. The city of Troy is falling. But we are looking at it very differently now. The Greeks have deployed that wooden horse, the Trojan horse, and the slaughter has begun. You know, that Trojan horse was a gift for the gods, a sacrifice because the war would finally be over. Or at least that's what Greeks said. And you've heard the old saying, beware Greeks bearing gifts. We have trained you to expect a certain kind of behavior with these Greek heroes. We expect Achilles or Ajax. It's really been the focus of so many lessons going back to the beginning of classical kingdoms. We expect someone who's coming out of here covered in blood and screaming for Kleos. Remember the Greek word Kleos is glory, the lasting glory that seeks something kind of beautiful, like an immortal death, but now. Redo this perspective. It's a Roman perspective. We're going to take Virgil's perspective. So we actually are skipping way ahead because Virgil is writing this perspective down in the year 19 BC. Aeneas has his sword drawn. His adrenaline is spiked. He wants to rush into that fire, Troy, to save his family. He's a Trojan prince, but he does stop. And that is a major shift. It's not what a Greek would expect. You know, what would you do in that moment? Because there is glory to be chased. As a warrior, as a prince. It'd be a lot of burden to be able to escape, be a survivor. And famously, Diomedes of Argos, a Greek hero, had the chance to shoot this guy. Aeneas could have been dead. But he sees the choice Aeneas takes. Aeneas makes a choice that redefines everything. His father's paralyzed, Anchises. And Aeneas goes back to his house to rescue his father, pick him up, and carry him out. Famous art. I love this art that captures it. I could have just showed you the picture from the beginning. I didn't have to explain all this, but this is the Anchises load, known as the Anchises load. It's really meaningful. He's not just carrying a man. He's physically carrying the past and the tradition because Anchises had an affair with Venus, with the gods. Aeneas grabs the household box of gods, the traditions. With his other hand, he grabs his young son. So he's now the beast of burden for a city, Troy, that we're never going to see. The point here is the Roman birth of Pietas. Pietas, the opposite, the opposite of Greek Kleos. This is a real shift if you're coming here from the young Alexander lessons. It's Kleos. Lessons 38, 39, he was taught by Aristotle. His mom even said he should have this eternal legacy. We're going in a different direction. Pietas, the Roman answer to, thinking about your own personal legend, glory that lasts. Pietas, duty. Duty to the divine, to God, to your duty to your state. Oh, yes. We don't even have a state yet, but you have duty to your family. Duty to others. But Aeneas has some major problems. If we stop talking philosophy, let's get him out of this fire. He's a refugee. He's carrying his dad. He's got a prophecy about him. That he has this additional burden of fulfilling a prophecy to start the new Troy in the West. So let's keep going. This is going to make you a Roman expert now, understanding the shift, because the Greek hero is kind of the individual star. Achilles was the best. Alexander the Great was the new Achilles, but this is a hero that's more of a foundational cornerstone. And so from the burning city of Troy, Aeneas survives and he begins his journey. Where does he go? Where does Aeneas go? He's searching for the prophesied new destination. We know that he's trying to get to central Italy. But we should pause if this is a legend or this is a myth. We need a map. And when we pull out this map, you're going to be like, is this the Odyssey map? Like, is this literally a copy of Homer's Odyssey, the Iliad and the Odyssey, which covered this time period, this content? Well, the Italy that Aeneas is traveling toward is not an empty promised land. There's a lot of Etruscans there. Those Etruscans are really the first superpower of the Western Mediterranean. So they controlled a federation of 12 cities already that are sophisticated, they're wealthy, they're powerful. Take a look at this symbol of power. Maybe you've seen this before, the fasces, this bundle of rods. How big is this bundle of rods with an axe? It symbolizes the imperium. Imperium. What is imperium? What word comes from imperium? Imperial. And like the word emperor, it is the ruling power. And this very old symbol we would have to trace throughout history, especially Italian history, Roman history. These early Etruscans were builders. They even built the first sewer system that still works today in Rome. But let's get back to Aeneas, because he has to be more powerful than the Etruscans. So they did invent a bad Etruscan trope, an overweight, overly obsessed with luxuria. Luxury, what is luxuria? The Latin word for, fancy things and lavish lifestyle. So this guy, Mezentius will be the bad Etruscan. And Aeneas will team up with the good Etruscans, the virtuous ones, to defeat the bad Etruscans as Aeneas establishes this new kingdom with liberation, right? Freeing them from the bad guys, so to speak. So Aeneas, like a Ben Franklin moment, the join or die. We should be united, but only the good people, not the bad Etruscans. And here is Aeneas. But there's a little bit more backstory to who Aeneas is. We know he's superior to Etruscans. He unites some Etruscans, but we're not ready to start the Republic just yet. There's a lot more to talk about. Before Aeneas actually even reaches Italy and faces the Etruscans, he gets blown off course. Imagine that. Sound like Odysseus in the Odyssey? He lands in North Africa, the North African city of Carthage. Oh, Carthage. Yes, that trade center. If you go back to lesson 16, the Phoenicians and the purple fabric trade, and they founded this colony of Carthage. And this is the time to visit it in North Africa because it's the up-and-coming place Queen Dido, D-I-D-O. Queen Dido, you've heard of her before, maybe the story about, she was there when she discovered the purple dye, her dog and her future husband. She wanted a wedding dress. But she is essentially a fellow exile fleeing from Tyre. Oh, they have a lot in common, don't they? Now, are we doing a political thriller here? Is this going to be a love story? You know that Dido offers Aeneas pretty much everything. When she hears the sad story, it includes how the Trojan horse was this sick gift, a lie, an offense to the gods. And Dido's heart just breaks, and she offers wealth, security, and love. It is a love story and a political thriller. Aeneas starts wearing Tyrian purple. Aeneas helps her build her new city. He becomes what the Romans call uxorious. Uxorious. What is uxorious? Aeneas is being enslaved by his wife. Well, it's Queen Dido. She's so famous. She is so important. And Aeneas is just a prince from a burned city. So what life would you choose at this point? Would you stay in a palace with a queen who loves you? This is a year, by the way. You have a long time to think about this. Or do you get back on track? What are you going to do? Aeneas has lost his mission, his focus. So he has to get reminded by the gods. Jupiter sends Mercury down to ask a terrifying question. What about your son's inheritance? Mercury reminds him of the map he is supposed to be drawing and charting and exploring. Aeneas is shaken. Aeneas realizes his comfort is stealing away his son's future. He's lost his purpose. So Aeneas needs to choose duty, or what's the Latin word for duty? Pietas. Pietas over passion. Choose pietas, choose duty. And so he secretly prepares his fleet to leave. Dido finds out. She begs him to stay, but Aeneas delivers a pretty cold line. He says, "It is not of my own free will that I pursue Italy." Italy instead of love. But this twist becomes a curse that we'll have to deal with later. As Aeneas sails away, Dido climbs onto a funeral pyre. What is a funeral pyre? This is the, trusses of wood that are going to be lit for your funeral. The Roman cremation. Why is she climbing onto a funeral pyre? She stabs herself with Aeneas' sword. She dies. As she's dying, her dying words are a curse. And this curse echoes throughout history. It will be in future lessons you will find the result of this curse. She calls for an avenger to rise from her bones. This is the curse. An avenger will rise from her bones in Carthage. Arise from my dead bones, O avenger. The Latin for that is ominous. Ominous, that's a Latin word too. She prays for eternal war between her people and his. Man, that is a bad breakup. That avenger. Do you know Hannibal Barca? I don't want to preview too far ahead, and those lessons are coming very soon. Virgil is telling the audience of this legend that these wars with Hannibal Barca, the Punic Wars, those lessons will go on for over 100 years. And now you know what they're going to be about. More than just trade routes. It's a love story. It's vengeance. It's a curse. And this is all because Aeneas broke Dido's heart. Now, if you were in my classroom, the discussion, which way do you go? Are you in favor of Aeneas at this point? Do you see the Pietas, the duty, when he turns his back on this poor girl that ends up committing suicide? Or have they... What do you say? Leave it in the comments. Like, really, put a comment about Aeneas at this point. What is he doing, the right or the wrong thing? Cold and heartless, or the sense of duty? The comment, click the like button, and if you haven't subscribed, please do so. But at this point of the legend, you are supposed to wonder, what are we doing? There's more to the legend because it's going to help you form your understanding of the beginnings of Rome. Aeneas had to amputate his own heart and passion to ensure that Rome could exist. Sacrifice, duty. So, this is making you a Roman expert and an expert of sacrifice. And what is the cost of the future Roman Empire? Because Rome is not built on marble, it is built on sacrifice, duty. In this tragic pivot, Aeneas leaves Carthage and finally lands in Latium. Latium, the coast of central Italy. Latium. What do you think about the word Latium? Does it sound like the word Latin? Suffering is not over yet. This is not an easy path. Trojans are starving. His entourage, they have no food left. His father had already died, and so did his wife. There's a lot more to the story that you could pursue in the Aeneid, full reading of the Aeneid. So I'm just giving you some tidbits. With no food, they sit down on the grass, like, let's have a picnic. For the last of their meager rations, they put their food on stale discs of hard wheat. It's essentially like plates, bread, old bread for plates. They're so hungry that after they eat the food, they eat their hard bread platters as well. And this is when Aeneas' son, Ascanius makes a joke and he laughs and he says, "Look, we are even eating our tables." Eating our tables. Aeneas stops. Back in an earlier part of this legend, a harpy had cursed this entourage, cursed these Trojans, saying they would not found their city until hunger forced them to eat their tables. Oh, the prophecy is lining up just perfectly. The joke turns into revelation. The prophecy is fulfilled. Aeneas shouts, the wandering is over. They have reached the coordinates on the map. This was all about a map, about a journey and duty. But people already live here. The Etruscans, before this final battle begins, there's not a lot of people here. It's a small battle, but we're going to get Vulcan involved. Vulcan, who is Vulcan? Remember the Roman names. Have you heard the Roman names already shifting? The Greek gods are going to take on new Roman Latin identities. So Hephaestus was the god that forges things, and now it's Vulcan. Here we go. Vulcan is going to forge a shield for Aeneas. Can you picture the Shield of Aeneas? A most important visual, the Shield of Aeneas, because myth or legend is going to meet the history because what is on his shield really matters. It depicts future history of Rome. He puts a female wolf nurturing twin baby boys. What? Have you ever seen the symbol of Rome? We haven't even landed. We have no food, and already Vulcan is giving more prophecies, more predictions. He shows that that the geese are going to save the Capitoline Hill, one of the hills of Rome, and the big battle of Actium. Are you ready to skip way ahead in history? Because Vulcan is predicting that the Battle of Actium will be a turning point battle in the glory of Rome. Sorry, I shouldn't have said glory, because this is not about glory or selfishness or anything like power. It's duty. And we're only here to pursue our destiny, the prophecy, the duty of founding this new place. And so those are events that won't happen until 31 BC, when Mark Antony and Cleopatra fight at the Battle of Actium. I won't give away what that is right now, but exciting stuff happening. So imagine Aeneas' stress level at this point, with this shield and all kinds of symbols and things that don't make any sense to him yet. It is adding to his duty. The beast of burden that he started this journey as, he carries now a heavy shield and needs to go fight. Fame and fate of his descendants. That's what he's carrying now, more than his father. His father's already passed. But his father had the affair with Venus, and guess who the offspring was? It was Aeneas. Aeneas could be the son of Venus. And so anyone who is a descendant of Aeneas is divine, or at least related to Venus, if we want to take it that far. But okay, he's got to go to war. He's got to carry this history forward. And we are blending a lot together just for the basic idea. But they performed this game of Troy. It's an intricate cavalry drill. So we have got horses, cavalry. It's the Lusus Trojae, the game of Troy. This was real, and it's something that we can skip way ahead to Augustus, Caesar Augustus, kind of the beginning of the glory, Pax Romana, the glory of Rome. He revived this Lusus Trojae for young Romans during their golden age, their Pax Romana, that this would put them in contact with the origins, with Aeneas. So it's going to withstand the test of time. And Virgil is writing these legends to kind of stitch together the past. Now, how many of you are feeling like you're getting loaded up with propaganda? Are you? Because it is true that the legend I'm sharing is written in 19 BC. That's after Augustus has taken power, and Rome has started a very peaceful, strong age. It will be their 200-year age of peace. But we will get to that lesson 56 and touch on that once again. So it's just a preview. The truth is, these local people that are already tribes in this Latium, the Etruscan people to the north, they don't want these people here. Aeneas and his descendants, these Trojans, they don't want them. They have Turnus, the local prince, and he plans to drive them out into the sea, which sets the stage for the final conflict. I would have to ask my students, is it an invasion if the gods told you to do it? Because this is the question Aeneas has to deal with. He is expected to finished the destiny. He's come this far already. He's done so many extreme things. Don't we just have to fight these people? Don't we have to conquer the land? Actually, the war for this part of Italy is a brutal fight, and it doesn't end with a treaty. It ends with a duel. Aeneas faces Turnus, this Italian champion. In the Iliad, Achilles faces Hector for the battle of the champions. What happens? Achilles kills Hector and drags his body around the city of Troy, around the walls for everyone to see. Do we expect Aeneas? Oh, you know the answer. You get what's happening here. Do we expect Aeneas to do something similar? When Turnus is wounded, he falls to his knees and he begs. He begs for his life. He says, I have resigned, Lavinia, the victory is yours. Aeneas hesitates. He actually considers sparing this guy. This is the moment where the new hero could show mercy. What's going to happen? But then Aeneas sees a belt that Turnus is wearing. It belonged to Pallas, a young boy Aeneas was supposed to be protecting, who Turnus has already killed. And so this is a time where we can see the passion of Aeneas seizing him. And the very thing he spent the entire epic legend journey pushing back against and denying himself in, he screams, it is Pallas who strikes this blow. And he buries his sword in the chest of Turnus. The soul of Turnus flees, and that's the end. Shocking. The Roman peace. Oh, there's no Rome yet. We've barely just got the people here that are going to start the Latin kingdom, start the Latin language, establish the new Latin path. These are the Roman beginnings, and we don't even have Rome started yet. So coming in lesson 44. But that legend will begin the kingdom of Rome on the 7 hills that are not far from this landing spot, this early kingdom called Alba Longa. Alba Longa. Now, this could be a stretch, but archaeologists have excavated this site, a site called the Heroon of Aeneas, where there's a burial mound called the Tumulus. I saw the tumulus of the Battle of Marathon when I visited the Marathon site. The tumulus was 18 meters in diameter here. For Aeneas, they found a chariot inside. They found rich wine. That was from the Etruscan pottery, the Bucero pottery, Etruscan elements. Etruscans were very advanced. They found roasting spits for a Homeric style feast, the Greek influence. Now, you say, wait, Mr. Hall, there's Greek colonies all to the south, and all this really is just the Greeks are moving north. What? Come on. That's no fun. This tomb dates to the 7th century BC, so the timing is a little off. You might have a point there. But it does look like a shrine. It does look like something people venerated. What is veneration? To hold it up special and, as if it was always known that this is a special site where Aeneas celebrated with his people. It proves Romans believed this legend from a very long, long time ago. So it's not that Virgil wrote it, but it's a legend that was handed down, just like the Homeric, just like Homer. He established the story around 800 BC of the Trojan War, the Trojan horse. But that legend would have been hundreds of years old when he gets credit for writing it down. With the Greeks, always an influence in this area. That's why we've had so many Greek lessons leading up to this. Let's talk about Diomedes again. He was the Greek hero who had the chance to end Aeneas's life. Now he's back in Argos, Diomedes. And there's one more little story in book 11 of the Aeneid. The Latins they go over and they talk to the Greeks. They trade with the Greeks already. They know. And they ask the Greek hero, hey, would you come and help us fight against Aeneas? We don't want him here. He's winning. Diomedes, he says no. Diomedes says, I have fought him before. Trust one who has experienced it. So in this version of the legend, this is the Greeks who said, no, we don't want to fight him. We don't want to take him on. He's too good. Aeneas is so, special, virtuous. He has duty. And so that's the reason why the Greeks didn't try to end it. As the Greek colonies are mainly going to stay in the south, what happens in central Italy is going to be the beginnings of the Latin people, the beginnings of the kingdom of Alba Longa, which later will branch off just to the north and start Rome on 7 hills. Was this a political thriller for you? Can we pop up a few locations on the map to help make you an expert on this transition? Do you know these places that are going to push us to the west? They're going to push us. So let's take a look. And now for the closing and your map challenge. Where is Troy? Where this started, the burning city of Troy. And then Aeneas carries his father out across the Aegean Sea. Do you know where the Aegean Sea is? And he journeys along the coast of North Africa. Where is Carthage? Because he stays in Carthage with Dido for a year before sailing north. Look at how close Sicily. Do you know where Sicily is? The island. He has to squeeze past Sicily, and he'll see all these Greek colonies on both sides, actually, Syracuse. And do you know where Neapolis is? Neapolis, where Naples, now very close to Mount Vesuvius. And we'll get to that volcanic eruption in a later lesson. But head north to central Italy, to Latium, to the kingdom of Alba Longa. Do you see where we are? And we can't put Rome on there yet. Come back for lesson 44. And I think you will see a new set of struggles by twin brothers who have a real challenge on their hands when they actually found the city of Rome. But for you, are you forced to look at burdens that you might be carrying? Are you willing to carry them and to carry those burdens for a future that you cannot yet see? Thank you for taking the time to learn something that matters in all of history. That includes your history, some classical truth for your journey, because kingdoms rise and fall, power fades, but virtue endures.